evening. This is Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nithi Razdan. Tonight, why is the government holding back crucial state-wise data on India's malnutrition figures? That's what the Congress is asking as international media organizations like the Economist get hold of it. Is it because the numbers show that Gujarat didn't do so well? We'll be debating that in just a few minutes from now. But first tonight, actor turned politician BJP MP Hema Malini is being criticised strongly today for leaving the site of an accident last night after her speeding Mercedes hit a Maruti Alto without reaching out to the victims of the accident, including two very young children. A 2-year-old girl was killed in that accident late last night, and her 6-year-old brother is in the intensive care unit at a Jaipur hospital as we speak, with fractures in both legs and arms. The driver of the car was arrested later in the night and has been booked for culpable homicide not amounting to murder. Today, he was granted bail just a few hours ago. Well, Hema Malini there receiving some injuries there to her face. She did have some kind of plastic surgery earlier today. She herself was injured in this accident. But now the family that was travelling in the other car has been extremely upset that while Hema Malini was immediately taken to a private hospital, they had to wait for a long time until they were able to get to a government hospital. We have Shirish Gupta, who's a cousin of the victim of the family that was in that car. Shirish ji, आप हमें बताइए कि आपको क्या मालूम है इसके बारे में? आपको क्या बताया गया कि हुआ क्या जब ये एक्सीडेंट हुआ? उसके बाद कितनी देर में हेमा मालिनी जी वहां से चली गई और जो आपके रिश्तेदार हैं वो कितनी देर तक रहे वहां पे?
मुझे मैडम 9:30 बजे फोन आया था स्पोर्ट से, अननोन नंबर से कि ये आपके ये शिरीष बोलना मतलब शिखा गुप्ता आपकी क्या लगती है? तो मैंने कहा मेरी सिस्टर है जो कि इनका एक्सीडेंट हो गया है, ये वहाँ दौसा हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट है, तो आपके जो भी रिलेटिव हैं उनको दौसा हॉस्पिटल में भिजवाएं।
और
उसके बाद फिर मैंने मेरे फादर के मामा जी वगैरह सब, उसके बाद मैं मेरे पापा के मामा जी वगैरह दौसा रहते हैं, वो उनको मैंने इन्फॉर्म किया और वो सब लोग वहाँ पर पहुंचे और प्रत्यक्षदर्शी वहाँ बताते हैं कि मैडम जैसे वहाँ पर जब एक्सीडेंट हुआ तो मतलब हेमा मालिनी जी को दौसा का जो डॉक्टर है वो पर्सनल अपनी कार में सफारी में बैठाकर और फोर्टिस में लाया और वहीं पर जब वो गुड़िया भी वहीं पर प्रत्यक्षदर्शी बताते, मैं वहाँ मौजूद नहीं था, कि वहाँ पर वो सड़क पे 15 से 20 मिनट पड़ी रही जब तक उसका उसकी कोई न पूछा न कुछ उसका इलाज करवाया। अगर उसका हाथों हाथ हेमा मालिनी के साथ वो यहाँ आ जाती तो आज वो हमारे बीच में होती।
आप कह रहे हैं कि वो 15 से 20 मिनट वहाँ सड़क पे थी, लेकिन उनको हॉस्पिटल कैसे लाया गया फिर? क्योंकि क्या वो एम्बुलेंस के जरिए था कि क्या किसी और की गाड़ी में, क्या ऑटो था, कैसे?
पुलिस प्रशासन और वहाँ के मैडम पुलिस प्रशासन पहुँच चुका था वहाँ पर और आसपास के जो भी लोग हैं उनकी मदद से वो उनको हॉस्पिटल ले जाया गया।
ठीक है शिरीष जी, हमसे बात करने का थैंक यू फॉर टॉकिंग टू अस दिस इवनिंग. दैट इज शिरीष गुप्ता. ही इज वन ऑफ द फैमिली मेंबर्स of that young girl who in fact lost her life, just a 2-year-old child dying very tragically. And he says there that as per information that he has, she was lying on the road for nearly 15 to 20 minutes before finally they were taken to another hospital, a government hospital, whereas Hema Malini, who didn't have severe injuries, she was taken to a private hospital immediately and has not apparently spoken to the family at all, even as we speak. We'll be following that story. There have been lots of reactions on that. We will be following that later as well. Well, nearly 9 months after the government of India, along with UNICEF, conducted a mega survey on malnutrition, the report is ready. UNICEF says there's no issue from their side. Yet the government of India has only released provisional data for the same just yesterday, not the state-wise breakup. The national numbers actually show a huge improvement in the last decade. Malnutrition has come down, but the picture is still grim. Interestingly, the numbers for Gujarat tell a different story, which is why the Congress is accusing the government of playing politics.
Is this unflattering reality of Gujarat the reason the government has still not made public state-level data for tackling malnutrition? This is what Congress Member of Parliament from Gujarat, Ahmed Patel, claims in his letter written to Menka Gandhi. the Minister for Women and Child Development.
So there may be political gamemanship in this, but I think where there is development as focused, they should come out with the data.
The rapid survey of children was conducted last year by the Government of India and the UNICEF, in which over 100,000 households were surveyed, but the release of its findings has been anything but rapid. Even 9 months after the report was completed, on Thursday, the government only released provisional data with national level figures. But the data has been accessed by The Economist, which shows that Gujarat is lagging behind on tackling different parameters of malnutrition. When it comes to stunted, wasted and underweight children, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh are the only two states which lag in all three categories.
It's important that political parties do not politicize even development research. This government is committed to taking action based on ground reality. For Congress to see politics in research, it shows only their desperation.
Government sources say state-level data will be released in due course. But activists say without updated data, the government's own action plan can be left horribly wanting.
The last data set that we really have on malnutrition was 2005-2006, the NFHS 3. Now, that's 10 years old data.
The delay over the release of these crucial indicators has surprised many, especially since India has shown a vast improvement in its efforts at tackling malnutrition. Reason why activists are also concerned that the budget cuts could potentially reverse the benefits accrued over the last few years. In New Delhi with Akhilesh Sharma, Ketki Angre for NDTV.
So is politics holding back the release of this crucial data? Joining us on the program tonight, we have Ritika Khera, economist and social activist, someone who's worked in this field for a very long time. Also joining us tonight, Adam Roberts, the South Asia Bureau Chief of The Economist, the publication that actually has this report, which has not been officially released here by the government. Rajiv Gowda, spokesperson of the Congress and Rajya Sabha MP, Jai Narayan Vyas from the BJP joins us tonight from Ahmedabad. Adam Roberts, to you first. We have heard today, not officially from the government while we were doing this story, but from government officials who said that the state-wise data will be released in due course, that there were 2 surveys done, the results were a little different. So now we've set up a committee to look at that to give us the final numbers. Now, you all also spoke to UNICEF, and from what I understand, UNICEF said that they had no issues with the data at all. Is that right?
Well, UNICEF didn't say that officially in commenting on the results of this record, but I've talked to several people at UNICEF who feel this was a very good quality study. It was done to a very high standard with a large sample. Of course, there can always be some questions about the reliability of any data, so it's good to review it and good to check it. But by and large, the state-wise data are fascinating, they're revealing, and it's better to put it out there and have people studying this. It's more than 8 months since the report was ready to be published, not since it was completed, but since the day it was due to be published. And that decision was then reversed or delayed, and so we haven't got all the data out there. But I've been going through it. This is the report. I've been going through the state-wise data, and it's absolutely fascinating. So I think it should be out there, and every Indian should be able to read it and discuss it for themselves.
Ritika Khera, when you look at this data, why do you think, it is an exhaustive study, as Adam Roberts says. There's a very large number, a huge sample size, a big survey that was done on a massive scale after so long, after 10 years. What do you think is holding it back? Is it politics?
I think before I comment on that, I want to say a couple of things about why this data is very important. I think even today, whether it's politicians or bureaucrats or even the public, aam aadmi as they say, and aam aurat, they don't understand that the first 2 years of the child's life is the window of opportunity to fix any undernutrition problems. If you miss the first 1000 days of a child's life, starting in the womb until the child is 2 or 3 years old, then correction of or removal of undernutrition becomes very, very difficult. And that's why this data is very important for any sort of policy making. And this is a message which all political parties need to understand. And now coming to your question about why the data has been held back, I think the data has had a very bad history. What happened is that between the first round of the National Family Health Survey and the second round, the second and the third round, things didn't improve a lot, and that government, the UPA government, got quite a lot of flack for that. As a result of which, they delayed the 4th round, which is the National Family Health Survey 4th round. Now, anyway, after delaying it a little bit, it went, it was carried out. Meanwhile, they started doing different surveys, like the ministry has said that, there's the annual health survey, there is the district level health survey, and then UNICEF jumped in and they did the rapid survey of children. And it's true, I've looked at the data for all these three, and the data are different. So if you look at DLHS, in some cases it's showing a reduction in the immunization rates for some states between the previous round and the last round. Now the RSOC, the rapid survey for children, is showing a slight improvement in some states. So there is a problem of consistency across these data sets, and the best way to deal with it, as Adam Roberts has said, is to put the data out there and let people understand what's going on.
Okay, so you're
hiding
saying
it
even if
is
it's different, even if it's these figures are showing different numbers, it's important to have it out there in order for people to
let researchers have access.
you need to study that data.
Yeah, when you hide it, then it definitely raises the question of why would you want to hide it? And it's one thing to delay a survey and to run into problems as the National Family Health Survey has, but to sit over the data when the report is ready is quite another.
Let me ask Mr. Vyas, why is this being held back? It's been nearly 9 months. Why do you think the government is reluctant to put it out there?
I don't think the government is reluctant to put out the data, but it has its own problems. The data being so huge, as it was being mentioned by Mr. Roberts. I mean, if there was an intention to hide the data, even provisional data would not have come in public domain. So first of all, it is incorrect to say that government has an intention to hide the data. That cannot happen in our system. Having said this, let me also say that it is true that from conception to the age of 5 is the most important time frame or time period where a child picks up the growth, and therefore it is very important period during which the various health parameters right from weight, height, the nutrition level, etc. Properly monitored. I think Gujarat is one of the states which is following this program very aggressively. Contrary to the criticism which was made by Congress. The CAG report, the latest data available from an authentic document is from the CAG report of 2012-13.
One second, Mr.
Where
Vyas,
Gujarat
I'm reading out from this report because this is the report that's being held back.
I am one sentence away.
Okay. Go ahead, you finish your point.
No, let me. I am giving you a time band comparison from 2001, 2006 to 7 to 2010-11. That is 5 years. Gujarat is one state which has reduced the malnutrition considerably. It stands reduced by as high as 52%. Gujarat is the #1 state as far as reduction in the malnutrition is concerned. So you cannot take the base state and its reduction will be less. Gujarat, if it was not doing well, you should consider the periodic reduction, that what has happened in last 5 years. You can't compare these parameters in isolation because these parameters themselves have so much fallacy within them that you can need one extra discussion
Mr.
for
Vyas,
justification
Mr.
that
Vyas,
why a person
let me read out the data.
and why a person who is healthy like
Adam, let me get Adam Roberts.
have the same
Adam wants to come in.
Do you want me to
Mr.
tell you
Vyas,
the data?
Mr. Vyas, Adam wants to come in. Yes, Adam.
Well, let me just give you the data that the national average for children being underweight is around 30%, but in Gujarat it's 33.5%. Whereas if you were to look next door at Maharashtra, a state with similar incomes to Gujarat, they've managed to cut malnutrition down to 25% in this 10-year period. So there's a clear natural experiment that compares Maharashtra with Gujarat, and Maharashtra has done vastly better than Gujarat, and Gujarat remains behind the national average.
Let me, Mr. Vyas, I'll get you to respond to that in just a moment, but let me ask Mr. Rajiv Gowda that, Mr. Gowda, Ahmed Patel wrote a letter to Menaka Gandhi. One second, Mr. Vyas. Ahmed Patel wrote a letter to Menaka Gandhi saying that this is being, I'll give you a chance to respond, sir. Let me get everybody to give their opening comments. Ahmed Patel wrote this letter saying that it was important to put this data out there, that politics shouldn't be played over this. The government could perhaps argue that when there is all this conflicting data that is out there, that they do need time, to put it all together. Or do you agree with Ritika that it's important to put everything out there and let the researchers study it for themselves?
I think it's particularly important to ensure that all data is out there. After the 14th Finance Commission, every state has to make its own priorities, has to understand what the situation is on the ground and when it comes to a variety of human development indicators, and go out there and modify their programs in response. Now, if you have conflicting data, that's not a problem. You will still get a signal from these different reports, and based on that you will move forward. Now, this government itself, the NDA government, was very happy with the UNICEF data earlier and was launching a whole program called Indradhanush based on this data, based on UNICEF data. Suddenly, when it appears that Gujarat may not look good and that during the Modi tenure as Chief Minister, you're going to see terrible track record as far as Gujarat's concerned on women and child welfare, there seems to be a concerted effort to ensure that that data is not released. Even Mr. Vyas is focusing on a select period. Look at the entire 12-year period when Mr. Modi was in charge. You see that Gujarat started well. It was one of the states that was doing well, and then over those 12 years, it actually slipped by. It shows us that Mr. Modi, his Gujarat model, was not anything that was concerned about women's welfare, children's welfare, nutrition. If you can recall that Mr. Modi once made a statement when asked about malnutrition, he said Gujarati girls are women are slim because they want to look beautiful or something like that, and that was his way of explaining away undernourishment. So there's been a cavalier attitude in Gujarat towards these very crucial aspects.